Guidelines have been proposed which would encourage judges and magistrates to spare female offenders from a prison sentence if they are experiencing poor mental health as a result of the menopause. They say menopause could be a mitigating factor when it comes to some crimes, as it can lead to mood swings and changes in behaviour, arguing that a sentence such as community service might be more appropriate. So, Judy, good idea or not?
You know, if I'm honest, I'm just a bit worried regards to, you know, it kind of being used or adding another label to menopause regards to adding it to mental health. And the only way I can explain it is like with mental health, I feel like there's a lot of people who suffer with mental health, but it gets labelled in such a negative way. If there's a crime, oh, it was because of mental health. And the people who are suffering with particular you know, illnesses, they feel like they are discriminated against more because they might be seen as more violent, or they might be seen as that is the main issue that's associated to mental health. And I just worry that with menopause, it's something else again. And the ones who are not necessarily going out there or making a crime or does a crime might use it as an excuse. So that's my only concern, you know?
Right, OK. So as in, to be a menopausal woman might be seen as something negative, or you might not be stable, or that, you know, there's something going on.
We've already gone through something where it's so hard enough for women to be able to speak out about menopause that we still need so much education. And already I feel like something else, another signpost, oh, it's it's menopause or it's mental health, that will add another negative, you know, impact.
I mean, I think
and
the really important
discrimination.
thing here is it's women who might be suffering from really adverse effects of the menopause. Not everyone does. And similarly with mental health, we all have mental health. You know, but some people unfortunately suffer, you know, real difficulties with their mental health. But I see what you mean. Just that word, because we're now so aware of it, might just leap out at people, and so they have a negative connotation. You've got a slightly different take on it, Nadia, though, haven't you?
Well, I do. I think we have to be wary of people being weary about the menopause, and we have to be careful of not wanting to retreat and not talk as much and not keep on investigating it. When I hear that some women, in extreme cases, their mental health can become a problem because of their menopause. And right across the board, you know, within the criminal system, within the justice system, there is supposed to be, I don't think enough, you know, an acknowledgement of somebody's mental health for certain crimes. So, you know, I mean, in France they have it, crime de passion. I mean, you know, I might sound like I'm being flippant here, but I'm really not. At points in my menopause, I was unhinged from who I was. I behaved in completely irrational ways sometimes. Now, there, but for the grace of God, I'm OK. I could have easily made a decision, made a really bad choice, and that wasn't actually really like me. So I am really mindful of that somebody... And pleased that there's going to be like a recognition the chance, for it, but obviously you don't want it abused, you don't want it brought up as an excuse.
Is there also a danger, though, Kelly, that people would use it as an excuse?
Look, it's about not belittling what menopause is as a word, because I think it's been so new in our psyche of this conversation. It's right to the forefront now, rightly so, because I don't think enough women, especially me, understood what the detrimental effects of menopause are. There's so many things that women suffer from. But I think when you come to associate it with bad crime, it's like, are we educated and informed enough to know at what stage in a woman's sort of menopausal symptoms, and if they get the attacks, the feeling like they want to kill someone, basically, if you get done for that crime, is there a chance that a woman could go, look, I was off the rails, right? Who is judging that? To
I suppose there would have to be a diagnosis, like somebody who might have severe depression or schizophrenia, or somebody that might do something due to their mental capacity at that time. It's not, you can't just go in and say that was the reason, you know, it has to, you have to get a proper diagnosis. And I'm assuming this is just another
I mean,
I'd love to know, like, who are the people who's making this decision or actually having this conversation, you know, where
well, I mean,
I
suppose there are sentencing guidelines when anyone, you know, is going to be sentenced for a crime that they have been convicted of. There's a whole range of different factors, you know, that the judge will take into consideration. And this is saying, well, this potentially might be one of them. I mean, one of the things that I think and I don't know whether this would avoid the problem that you're saying, Judy, about the menopause being sort of seen as, you know, a negative thing, is, you know, the impact of hormones on our lives. And we do tend to go, she's hormonal, and there's that very sort of flippant disregard of that. But the fact is that hormones do have a real impact on, not all, but many women, and can very much dictate their behaviour in a negative way.
This is an empowering thing for women. There's an acknowledgement of that. That actually, I think it's empowering. I know what you're saying about it being abused, but the acknowledgement that we are actually, and when I say victim, I don't mean it like we're a terrible victim, we are sometimes a victim to something that is going on in us physiologically, and I think it's a step for women that it can be considered.
It has to be said, though, we did a poll on this. And we did ask you, should menopausal offenders be spared jail? And it was 88% said no.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a very, like, simple question, if you don't mind me saying so. Because it makes it sound like anybody could go up and say, well, I've got my menopause, let me off.
I think that's the thing. Most people think it could be used as an excuse, which, of course, it couldn't be, which is what we're trying to say with this. But I think that's the problem. If you are an offender, you're going to offend anyway. That's one thing. If you aren't an offender and you're going to have something go off in your head and you do something that was completely out of character, that needs to be assessed. But are the medical team in line with the sentencing? Because that has got to be a diagnosis as well as a sentence, right?
So then in any mental health condition, if you're struggling, could any genuine mental health condition be used in a case? It could. And I think that this can be the same thing for some.